I was just explaining like how this whole thing got started, which was slightly insane because I have an insane fear of public speaking. Like, I know it sounds mad because I'm doing this Instagram live now, but actually it's taken 52 weeks for me to do this Instagram live because I'm petrified of public speaking, which is how this whole thing started. I was doing a presentation and an interview, and I got so sick, like physically sick, that I was just like, I need to do something about this. So I started the podcast to figure out how to actually deal with all these kind of things, issues that I have, like, being not very confident in public speaking, for one. So I was reading the books, the correct books that could possibly help with that section, or being a bit more, I don't know, assertive. So I was reading books on being assertive, and same things with perseverance and so on and so forth. And as someone who loves reading, and just to say that at one point I was reading a book a day, so it is like my life. It just made sense to kind of incorporate these two kind of passions of mine and actually figure out how to get over this insane fear of public speaking. This is petrifying to me. Like, literally, staring at my own face is weird. I'm not sure if you've got that same issue as well, but it's too jarring. So, very weird to do this. Uh, Thank you all for joining. It's so nice to see everyone. I'm explaining the whole journey of how this channel started, which is the How to Be channel. Oh, thank you. Oh, good to know, Booktrovert, because yeah, I'm an introvert, so I'm glad that I can share that with someone else as well. So totally understand. That's really good to hear. Which is partially why I'm trying to do a podcast, which I've done for the last 52 weeks, to try and learn how to get over this particular fear of confidence, public speaking, and also actually embracing being an introvert. It's okay being an introvert. That's what I've discovered. So that's kind of what I'm doing. This Instagram live is the final practice of the 52nd week of the end of the first season. So this was my test. So I'm gonna just kind of go through like some of the stuff we've done. It's been kind of amazing. We've like I've managed to interview like 35 authors this year, and they were amazing. And we've had oh, good. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate Booktrovert. I really appreciate it. I'm hoping this helps someone else as well, because I've got the same issues, and I'm not just like one of those like self-help life coach gurus, because I know nothing about these things myself. So I'm trying to learn as well. So, just these authors have been really helpful in trying to kind of provide the information that I need, the gaps that I just have. Because whilst I was growing up, I never had these kind of sort of talks of how do I become resilient? I don't know. How do I become assertive? I've never been assertive. I've no idea. So that was the whole idea, which is reading and reading and reading, talking to the authors, and seeing whether they can actually help, like with some of the information they have. So yeah, perseverance, I guess, was a very big key to this 52 weeks of doing this podcast, an episode a week, which I managed to do. And it was James Clear's Atomic Habit. If you've read that book, I do recommend it. It basically came in really handy because it just made me realize that I've got to turn this into a habit to be able to create this every single week. So it means I was able to kind of organize this as part of my day every single week. So I do several hours of writing, like a script, managing all of the process. On the Thursday, I'll do the interview with the author. On the Friday, I'll write up the script and record it. And then basically on the Saturday, I will start publishing bits and pieces. So it's a big process. It's a week-long process of just doing an episode. So yeah, it's been a lot of organization, and just want to say hi to everyone. Thanks Chloe as well for joining, Gazing Dream, Tyra Scribbler, Inkheart, everyone. And again, a girl after my own heart is Book Travert, so or a man, sorry, I'm not sure, or non-binary, of course, so I apologize. Also, so nice. Oh, thanks. Thank you. And yes, I definitely got more assertive this year because I was able to approach a lot more people, which I thought was completely out of my depth. And as Chloe, who is joining us here from Songbirds magazine, I met her through Clubhouse, and we were, basically I ran these discussion groups every single week in relation to the subject of the podcast episode every week. And so we had some amazing discussions. So it was just so like eye-opening to hear everyone's point of view on a subject, whether it's like I don't know, not being able to share certain stories, just the fear of, shame or guilt or grief, or, really just human attributes that we are kind of really, really scared of talking about. And I'm just saying hi to Crystal, who's another one of those amazing people that joined these Clubhouse sessions. And I just want to say massive thanks to having you guys all joining all those sessions and just sharing your thoughts and being part of this whole process and this journey. It's been a huge learning curve this year, but it's been amazing to just meet so many people. Yes, public speaking has been a really big thing as part of this because I'm not used to it at all. I hate it, which is hilarious as I am actually a trained journalist. I actually am petrified of public speaking, which is why I could never go on camera. I always stayed in the background writing. It was all producing because I was petrified of being in front of a camera. So that was a very big part of this. Now, I'm not sure if people know, but basically I have had to be super resilient this year. I've had 9 months of very quite a big relapse in my health condition. So my right arm hasn't properly functioned since April. And I've had like major stomach problems because I have a condition that's progressing quite rapidly. And so as a result, it's meant I've had to be super resilient this year. And it's been hard, let's not lie. I was trying to run the podcast, read all those books, do those interviews, and whilst just managing just to keep my health intact. But I was in and out of hospital the whole year, so it's been quite a tough journey this year. But self-compassion has been quite a big one. I've had to be really self-compassionate. And that's quite a hard subject for a lot of people, because obviously not everyone grows up with self-compassion. I didn't particularly grow up with compassion, so, a very big learning curve, and I'm sure a lot of people here have had to learn, especially as adults, how to be self-compassionate, so it's quite hard. But the happy positive subjects that we've touched upon was creativity and wonder, which is kind of one of my favourite subjects we did, which was such a positive experience. So from storytelling, thanks to Bernadette Russell's book, The Little Book of Wonder, which I loved, and Mark Earl's book, which was Creative Superpowers. And I've done a lot of artwork this year, and that for the first time I was able to create my own artwork without copying people's artwork, because that's been a major problem, because I was so frazzled with the fact that my art wouldn't look good, this perfectionist idea, that I just basically would copy other people's like beautiful drawings, and I was like, I can't create my own work. So it forced me to basically sit there and just do it. even if no one else will like it. That's the point. You've got to like it, and so that was really tough. But and it really pushed me out my comfort zone. But really, I think those books were really helpful in saying it's creativity is anything. Like art can be anything. It's subjective. So stop boxing yourself into these kind of things. And Wonder was so much fun because I'm not sure if you have noticed, but I've been doing little storytelling reels for the whole of last week or the week before, where it's just doing horror stories, which I used to do as kids. And I was just wondering, like, if you did storytelling, because I think it's actually a lot of fun. Yeah, exactly, Chloe. Like, we need to do storytelling sessions. They just seem like so much fun. So, and hi, Emily. It's so nice to meet all these like new people over the last year, and everyone I met through like doing this project, which has just been fabulous. So thank you so much for like coming and joining, and yeah, and I think connection has been the big one from everyone, and I've met so many fantastic people this year who I actually consider now my friends. So big shout out to some of the authors, for example, like Kate Hanley, Sneha Lees, Maya Kalaria, Bernadette Russell, and oh yeah, Verlaine Diane Sobroidu, who I met on Twitter. And the discussion friends who are like here as well. Some are here. So Shoma, Ramesh, Kev, Chloe, who is here, Raj, Stewart, Rahul, Akshay, Jay Penelope, and of course Crystal, who is also here. And anyone else who I've kind of met throughout this journey, but I've missed. But like you guys have made this year so special for me. So thank you so much for connecting and sharing bits of yourself, because I know it's really personal stuff, and it's just been so heartwarming to hear your stories. And I feel really privileged and honored for you to have like shared yourself with me. Book Travert, I definitely talked about the introverted self of my, being introverted. I'm definitely less self-conscious about being an introvert. I've embraced it much more. I am quite happy to be an introvert now, and I totally recommend Susan Cain's book, which is Quiet, which is in episode 18, if you want to like check that out. And I loved Carl Honore's book, which is In Praise of Slow, which I think is so essential to like modern life. We have to slow down. We are burning ourselves out into oblivion. It's so important to just take a step back. And some of the anecdotes in Carl Honore's book is just incredible. Like the entire slow cities in Italy. Yeah, check that out. Like entire town planning based on slow. So check it out. It's so cool. And even slow cooking. Try out slow cooking. And I think, this year's been really big in terms of getting in touch with my mental health and cultural aspect side, because I've always been really cut off from my South Asian heritage, just because I just grew up in an area where it was very sort of, I think, white middle class in North London. And then when I moved to South London, I was completely out of place because I had a really posh English accent, and I just couldn't really relate to any other South Asians. So it's been really kind of essential to have met like some of these authors who've written. So Good Indian Daughter by Ruhi Lee, which is her pseudonym, but Sneha Lees, and then also Half Woman, Half Grief by Maya Kalaria, who talks about the grief of losing her mother and going through trauma at a really young age, and the poetry is just beautiful. And I would totally recommend it because I know it's very personal to a lot of people in this instance. And Untold Stories is something I reviewed just not last week but the week before. It's harrowing. It's absolutely harrowing. So you really have to. There's a lot of trigger warnings with that book. Even in the book itself, there's like trigger warnings before several chapters where they're discussing extremely tough subjects, but they do affect our communities, and we never talk about it. So it's been a really eye-opening year where I've had to come to terms with the fact that whatever's happened to me in the past, or it's not in a vacuum. It's also partially cultural, and so it's been really amazing to meet other South Asian women who've been through similar things. And as I mentioned before, I've had to deal with quite serious like health issues throughout the year. This year, where I've like had this massive relapse, and so Stronger by Purna Bell, who's an excellent journalist. It has been so inspirational, that book, because it's actually pushed me back to see my PT and help me get my body back into sort of my control. So I see a PT every week now, and I started seeing an osteopath, and I started going back to physio. So because I haven't had much mobility with my right arm, or most of like my shoulders or anything. So it's been amazing to read that book and being inspired to try and get back my physical body again and get my strength back. And I'm going to give a special mention to Bobby Conn and also Devi Lockwood, who basically helped teach me about rootedness and also figuring out climate change to some very small degree. But rootedness was just such an interesting subject because through Bobby Conn's book, which is so beautiful, is about her roots in Appalachia, and also just the opioid crisis within that's has affected her family, and you realize how much of your like own roots kind of still affect you now generationally. And so I put out a post of my own grandfather and the fact that he fought, he was in Baghdad in the 60s, and he was able to escape with his life during a military coup. And, he saved a lot of important confidential documents during that time, and he was awarded an MBE by the Queen as a result. And, these are like stories that I really suddenly started thinking about. So, big kudos to Bobby Conn for like reminding me of my own heritage, and Debbie Lockwood for understanding climate change at that little bit more, especially from the perspective of people around the world where climate change is just basically in their face all the time. They've got water shortages, they've got like disease they're having to deal with, no clean access to water. It's just such a fascinating subject, and she did it through storytelling, which I thought was beautiful. So obviously I've got to think of what would I do differently this year. I think, as mentioned in the group's discussion yesterday on reflection, it's true that everything happens in its own time. Yeah, but I think I would have tapped into sort of the communities much earlier, but I was really quite scared to get in touch. And I just want to say hi to Caitlin and Raj and everyone else who's joined. Thank you so much. And Will, and it's so lovely to see all of you. So I'm just kind of doing a reflection back on this year. And especially since this Instagram Live is my big test after 52 weeks of whether I can do public speaking. I am trying not to ramble on and fumble over all my words, so I apologize. I do have notes next to me because, hello, Raj. It's the only way I'm going to get through this without like absolutely like throwing up on my keyboard. Apologies. Yeah, so that's one thing. I would have liked to have tapped into the communities much earlier, I think. These communities are wonderful, and for me, it's important to say thank you, Booktrovert. Thank you, I appreciate that. But it's really nice to talk to people. For me, it's not about followers or following or anything like that. It's me talking to people. So you will notice whenever I follow you, I will message you. I will always message the person. So I'll just say hi. This is me, what I'm doing, and if you want to message back, please do, because that's the whole point. I like the idea of having a community, so we're not all alone, really. I think very importantly this year, so I shouldn't have burnt out. I burnt myself out quite a lot, doing a lot of things, which was a little bit stupid. I should have really taken my own advice from those books, but I clearly didn't. I had to learn to be on camera more. I started doing reels right at the end, talking to the camera, but it was pretty petrifying. I really didn't enjoy it. And you probably noticed, even in my private Instagram account, I have absolutely no pictures of me. I don't really like seeing myself on camera. It's odd. And so I really do want to be a bit more confident still. It will be really helpful. I would love to be able to do a live podcast episode. Everything has been recorded beforehand and edited. I have not been able to do a live podcast episode because I'm absolutely petrified. And also to be bold enough to kind of say my own stories, because I think I still have a lot of judgment and shame and guilt, and I think it really is quite hard to talk about certain things. So I think maybe one day I'll be ready, but I wasn't ready, not yet, anyways. So what's next? So I'm definitely planning to carry on like holding these community like discussion sessions via like Clubhouse and Twitter. So do follow me in the link in my bio, and especially until season 2 next year. It will when we restart season 2 in next year. The topics will coincide with the episodes. So at the moment they're going to be more ad hoc topics that basically have come up throughout the year and might be more interesting. And basically, season 2 next year is going to be every fortnight instead of every week. I just basically need to practice. Hi, hello. I just need to practice. I need to put all of this stuff into practice. If I do the podcast episode every week, otherwise I'm never actually going to practice any of it, including not burning out. Expect some amazing authors also to come next year. I'm really looking forward to that. We've got some really wicked authors coming, so I'm super excited. So definitely watch this space. There's got a few interviews lined up that you're going to absolutely love, I hope. And my social media space from now on till the new season will also look at basically current important non-fiction reads and subjects. We're going to share like other people's thoughts and stories because that's really important. And I'll be also throwing back to this season because we've got like 52 episodes, so there's a lot. And then the other thing is that I'm going to have a bite-sized advice section on YouTube. So it'll be just basically everything we've seen throughout the year, because the videos are very long. You might have noticed they're like an hour long, so they'll have like a bite-sized advice section, so there'll be only a few minutes. And also I would love to have more storytelling kind of like sessions, like so we can all be children again and enjoy telling stories to each other, just because I think that was such a wonderful thing to do. And also, I'd love to hear whether you'd actually like to join me in doing like storytelling sessions and read-along sessions, or also want to try any kind of collaborative endeavors with me, like especially if it's relevant to all these random existential life questions, I'm definitely doing more cross collaboration from now on till 2022, throughout 2022. Obviously relevant material, of course, and not random quotes and things like that. I mean like actual life stuff, and my DMs are open, and I'd love to do more like Instagram interviews with authors and non-fiction readers, so like please do message. So if you have any questions, please message me. I'm kind of open, so I hope that was okay. This was really weird to talk to myself like this, but okay. Thank you so much for listening. This is so odd. But thank you so much, all of you, for joining. I really appreciate it. And if you have any questions right now, feel free. Thanks, Raj. I hope that I get to see you for the next season and the next few weeks as well. So really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Please join in. That the whole point is we're trying to build a community of like great people who basically are just a fantastic support for one another. So can't wait to see you all and talk to you.